They told you that ignoring her would make her want you more, that silence was power, that detachment was the ultimate move. And so you did it. You stayed quiet. You pulled back. You pretended not to care. But here's the truth no one tells you. Ignoring her doesn't give you control. It reveals your weakness. Because Stoicism teaches us this. Power doesn't come from games, but from mastery of the self. And so today we're going to strip away the lies. We're going to dig into what Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, and Epictetus would have told you about love, about presence, and about why ignoring her backfires. If you stay with me until the end, you'll not only understand women better, you'll understand yourself better. And that is where all true power begins. Part 1. The modern trap of silence. In today's world, dating advice is poisoned with manipulation. They tell men, wait 3 days before texting. Make her chase. Disappear and she'll value you. But if you've tried it, you know how empty it feels. Because you're not actually calm when you ignore her. You're restless. You check your phone every few minutes, waiting for her to notice your silence. This isn't stoicism. It's slavery. To her attention, to your ego, to the false idea that indifference equals strength. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." And yet, isn't that what you're doing when you play these games? You're not living, you're not loving, you're not being, you're calculating, withholding, waiting. Ignoring her doesn't make her respect you. It only exposes that you have no courage to be real, because real strength isn't found in silence. It's found in presence. It's the ability to show up fully, to risk vulnerability, to say what you feel without rehearsed delays or calculated absences. Games may create sparks, but presence creates fire. And if you're truly unshaken, if you truly have inner calm, you don't need to hide behind silence. You can stand there openly, letting the truth of who you are speak louder than any strategy ever could. Part 2. What the Stoics really taught about desire. Seneca once said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." When you ignore her, you're not practicing stoicism. You're trapped in imagination. You imagine she'll come running back. You imagine silence will turn into attraction. You imagine you're in control. But reality is different. She doesn't see strength. She sees avoidance. She sees fear. And perhaps worst of all, she feels disrespected. The Stoics weren't against love. They weren't against desire. They were against slavery to desire. Epictetus said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." Notice carefully. That doesn't mean disregarding her. It means disregarding the outcome. Her reaction, her opinion, her choices. Those are outside your control. But your honesty, your courage, your presence, those belong to you. And when you ignore her, you give those away. To the Stoics, desire was never the enemy. Dependence was. There's a profound difference between wanting someone and needing them to validate your worth. When you ignore her, you slip into the very dependence you're trying to escape, because your silence is still tethered to her response. True freedom is found in wanting without clinging, in expressing without demanding, in standing firm whether she stays or walks away. That is the kind of desire the Stoics would honor, one rooted in self-mastery, not self-deception. Part 3. The psychology of ignoring. Let's step into psychology for a moment. Humans are wired for connection. We thrive on being seen, being valued, being acknowledged. When you ignore her, what you're actually triggering isn't attraction, it's distrust. Because deep inside, she asks, if he withholds now, what else will he withhold? If he plays games now, how will he love later? Modern research in relationships shows something clear. Attraction grows not in silence, but in attunement, the ability to notice, to listen, to respond. Ignoring breaks that. It doesn't create mystery, it creates distance. And distance over time becomes disconnection. What begins as a subtle doubt slowly erodes the foundation of trust, making the bond fragile before it has the chance to deepen. Real intimacy is built on consistency, the small gestures of presence that accumulate into a sense of safety. Without that, attraction may flicker briefly, but it cannot sustain the fire of a lasting connection. Part 4. Stoic masculinity, the courage to be direct. True Stoic masculinity is not about games. It's about courage. It's about being able to say, yes, I want you. Yes, I value you. Yes, I'm here. And if she doesn't respond, if she leaves, if she rejects, then you practice Amor Fati, the love of fate. You embrace it as necessary, as part of the path, as fuel for growth. But ignoring her to protect your ego is not Amor Fati. It's avoidance of fate. Seneca said, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." Dare to be direct. Dare to be honest. That is strength. Because in the end, directness is liberation. When you speak truth without disguise, you remove the burden of second-guessing, overthinking, and endless strategy. You stand tall in your intention, whether it's received or rejected. That clarity is magnetic, not because it guarantees her affection, but because it proves you belong to yourself first. Part 5. Why ignoring backfires. Here's why ignoring her backfires every time. 1. It creates mistrust. She feels you're playing her. 2. It reveals insecurity. Silence is rarely calm, it's anxious. 3. It wastes time. Instead of building connection, you build walls. 4th, it blocks growth. You never face your fear of rejection. The Stoics would call this wasted energy. Energy that could have been used to strengthen your mind, your values, your purpose. Remember, Stoicism isn't about becoming untouchable, it's about becoming unshakable. There's a difference. Untouchable men avoid, unshakable men engage. And here's the real paradox. When you stop ignoring and start engaging with honesty, you gain respect, even if it leads to rejection. Because courage is magnetic. A woman may not always choose you, but she'll recognize the strength it takes to show up authentically. That recognition plants seeds of trust, and trust is the soil where real connection grows. Part 6. The alternative. Presence over games. So what should you do instead? Practice presence, practice clarity, practice what I call Stoic attunement. When she speaks, actually listen. When you desire, actually admit it. When you fear rejection, face it with courage. That's what Marcus Aurelius meant when he said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." A good man doesn't ignore. He shows up fully, consistently, calmly. And that is infinitely more attractive than any game. Because presence isn't a tactic, it's a way of being. When you stop performing and start showing up with grounded honesty, you radiate something games can never imitate: inner stability. And stability is rare. It's what makes people lean in, not because you manipulated them, but because they can feel your authenticity. That's the essence of Stoic attunement. Power without pretense. Part 7. A Stoic exercise for love and fear. Let's end with a Stoic exercise you can practice today. Tonight, sit in silence. Close your eyes and imagine she never calls. Imagine she never chooses you. Imagine you are alone. Now breathe. Ask yourself, can I endure this? Can I still live? Can I still create? Can I still rise? If the answer is yes, and it always is, then you are free. Free to love without fear, free to give without calculation, free to show up fully because her rejection cannot take away your soul. And from that place of freedom, connection becomes effortless. And here's the paradox. When you release the fear of losing, you stop clinging, and love flows more naturally. You're no longer bargaining with fate or trying to bend someone's will. Instead, you meet her with an open hand, not a clenched fist. That openness is what creates true intimacy, because it's rooted in strength, not in need. Now here's the Stoic path to real power. So here is the truth. Ignoring her isn't strength, it's fear disguised as strategy. The Stoic man does not run, he does not play games, he does not beg, nor does he hide. He stands, he speaks, he loves. And when fate takes her away, he bows his head and whispers, Amor Fati. Because his worth was never in her hands, it was always in his own. So the next time you're tempted to ignore her, remember, Real power is not in silence. Real power is in presence, and presence cannot be ignored. If you found value in this, consider sharing it with someone who could benefit. And don't forget, a simple like goes a long way in spreading Stoic wisdom. For more insights on philosophy, personal growth, and the art of clear thinking, subscribe and turn on notifications. Stay strong, stay mindful, and above all, stay stoic. See you in the next video.